IVM.
News Kids on the Block. We bring to you stories that top the nation's papers, fresh from the Ascend International School and IVM desk. Hi, I'm Kavya.
I'm Anya.
And I'm Trivik.
And welcome to this episode of News Kids on the Block, where we'll give you all the top news updates of the week. And I actually haven't done a COVID update in a while because last week we didn't do one and the week before Trivik did it. So I thought I'd reclaim my throne and do it this week. So we'll start with some positive COVID news where Bhubaneshwar, the capital of Odisha, became the first city in India to vaccinate 100% of their eligible population with both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. And they administered 18,37,586 doses of the vaccine. And their set target was 18 lakhs, so they passed the target. And they also additionally vaccinated about 1 lakh migrant workers with the first dose of the vaccine. And I think while we talk a lot about the effects of the second wave of COVID in bigger cities like Mumbai and Delhi, at the end it's been Bhubaneshwar that has become the first city in the entirety of India to vaccinate the eligible population. So that's awesome.
Well, I'm going to be stealing the COVID update right back from Kavya, and let's go overseas for this one where we've done an India update, but now we're going to talk about New York City. And New York City will become the first US city to require proof of at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine for a variety of activities for workers and customers, indoor dining, gyms, and performances. This has been implemented to put pressure on people to get vaccinated, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced on Tuesday morning.
While New York is the first to do this, I expect to see this happening not only across the entirety of the US, but also across the world. Because if you think about it realistically, giving people an incentive to take the vaccine is probably one of the most efficient ways of getting people to take the vaccine. So, kind of a give and take thing here. But yeah, please, if you are eligible, please do get the vaccine, as it'll definitely be a big step in getting rid of COVID. And with that, we'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to News Kids on the Block. Kavya and Trivik have been arguing too much over this whole COVID update, and I refuse to be a part of it, so I have decided to create my own update. So welcome to the Olympic update. We'll start with hockey. Both the Indian men and women's team made it to the semi-finals of their respective campaigns. Hockey has been our most successful sport at the Olympics, for the men's team at least. And that being said, we last won in 1980, which is a while ago. Our men's team lost to Belgium on Tuesday morning, 5-2. The match was very evenly set. I actually watched the whole thing, and it was a very tight match. We were even ahead of them at some point, and by halftime, we were tied 2-2. But unfortunately, at the end, Belgium got the better of us. It was a no risk, no reward situation, and unfortunately, our risk did not pay off this time. Luckily, however, our men in blue will have a fighting chance to win the bronze on Thursday. We are recording this on Wednesday, so hopefully we'll have some good news by then. The women's team, on the other hand, made history by coming to the quarterfinals for the first time, and this was, of course, courtesy of a beautiful drag flick from Gurjeet Kaur. Unfortunately, earlier today on Wednesday, they lost to Argentina 2-1, which means that they too will be forced to play against Great Britain for the bronze. I think if there's anything to learn from this, or specifically the women's team, is that I really like this. It was, you have to lift weights, make jump shots, box, throw discs, and drag flick like a girl.
Speaking of jump shots, PV Sindhu wins bronze, making history as the first Indian woman to win back-to-back Olympic medals, making all of us very, very proud.
Well, Trivik, I refuse to have you take over and hijack my Olympic update, and I'm determined to take it back. So let's talk about the Javelin throw event. India actually had 2 participants this year. Shivpal Singh unfortunately failed to qualify, but Neeraj Chopra has kept India in the hunt for our maiden coveted track and field medal. Obviously, history can tell us that track and field hasn't necessarily been our forte in it, and we haven't been dominant in it. Forget, having like constant athletes in it. And this Olympics, we're definitely, in the last 10 years, we've definitely seen a shift with that. And so Neeraj Chopra in his Olympic debut reached a mark of 86.65 meters. And he will hopefully do the same, or he hopes he do the same at the finals. And medal or no medal, it's definitely a huge step and a huge advancement when it comes to our place in sports and in athletics specifically. And of course, he'll definitely do us proud either way.
Well, moving into another sport which involves releasing a sharp, pointy object, but this one is archery, and archery saw many. The archery has been concluded now, but one story I found particularly interesting about India was that during this Olympics, India witnessed their very own power couple take everybody by storm. And I know this is not the first occasion where a married couple has both taken place in the Olympics. It's just the first one I've heard of. And Deepika Kumari and Atanu Das competed in women's archery and male archery respectively.
Trivik, I'll give it to you. That wasn't too bad of a pun. But I was watching the Atanu Das match and I saw Deepika Kumari cheering him on from the side, which was really sweet. But Trivik, why don't you tell us how far they went in the competition?
Both halves of the couple's Olympic journey ended in the quarterfinals, sadly, where Kumari, the world's number one, was sadly defeated by Ahn San from South Korea, the eventual winner of the gold medal. Das, on the other hand, fell out of the competition against Japan's very own Takahura Furukawa, the 2012 Olympic silver medalist. Following his exit from the Tokyo Olympics, Das spoke in an interview and he said, "We are a powerful couple. We lost in this Olympics year, but from now, we will play the game differently. We have learned so many things in the past few years and we know how to deal with pressure. I expect much more to come from this power couple over the next few years."
Thanks, Trivik. And with that, let's move to some international Olympic stories. And I think the one that stood out to me the most was Marcel Jacobs from Italy. He produced a life-changing performance for him, I'm sure, when he won the 100 meters men track and field final in the 2020 Olympics. And he set a record with a time of 9.80 seconds. And I think what makes this even more special, not only for him, but for us and people all over the world as well, is that he beat the time of the legend Usain Bolt. And I think, I don't know about anyone else, but I've grown up hearing that about Usain Bolt being the fastest and him being unbeatable. And I think I've held him up there as well. And the fact that someone has done it quicker than him has really burst a bubble for me, at least. But that's a really amazing achievement, and I'm sure he's really, really proud. And with that, we'll take a short break. And that'll be the end of our Olympic update, and we'll be right back after the break.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, in the first half, Ashwin is joined by Varun to wrap India's ODI tour of Sri Lanka. In the second half, DJ joins the party to discuss the first T20 international between India and Sri Lanka. If you'd like to hear more about this match, former Indian cricketer Sabah Karim joins Rajiv Mishra on Khel Niti and they talk some more about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're really excited to announce a new show, a show about crypto with Rohan Joshi. He's going to dive deep and demystify all this crypto stuff that we've been hearing about. And let me tell you a little bit more about stuff that's going on the network really quickly. Congratulations to Maru Kinayat, who celebrates 50 episodes of The Note with a discussion on health as a fundamental right. On Vaisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Harsha Chetanwala of mywealthgrow.com. Zarina Poonawala is starting a new miniseries on emotional intelligence. Do check out the kickoff episode on the Empowering series. And Simplified talks about semiconductors. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show, or any other show for that matter, please do tell a friend. That's really helpful for us. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors on the network this week. They make this all possible. Thank you very much. Ciet, Cred, Global Victoria, Bank of Baroda, Intuit India, Lenovo, and CoinSwitch Kuber. We really appreciate your support.
Well, I'm here to take over with some national news. After a very long wait, CBSE results have finally been declared. So a huge shout of relief to all of our fellow students out there, and we wish you all the best for whatever comes next. But something that I read about this was a very sad and eye-opening moment. Some data from the National Crime Records Bureau shows us that more than 24,000 children between the ages of 14 to 18 died of suicide between 2017 and 2019. And of these incidences, 4,000 students committed suicide due to failure in exams, and then the next two reasons were love and then illness. I think that kind of sums up a student's life, though. Honestly, those 3 causes, they really do. This article by the Swaddle notes the steady increase in the number of suicides each year. And I think that just reading this article, it once again brings into question the effect of exams and how they have this drastic impact on the lives of students based on the immense pressure that is concentrated around students, and it just creates so much chaos and tension. So firstly, if it all becomes too much, please talk to someone. It's okay to let the pressure off for a moment, and even more. And I think just a reminder to every student out there that you are so much more than your marks. Your marks are a very, very small part of who you are. So don't lose sight of yourself when it comes to those marks. But yes, a great piece of news when it comes to the CBSE results. I think that all of our fellow students finally have some time and some scope to move forward. Speaking of move forward, and I'm just going to quickly jump into this other...
Anya, I'll say something here.
Okay, perfect. Please, thank you.
Yeah, Anya, I completely agree with you. I was just thinking about it on a bigger scale, that there's so much stress and anxiety. At the end of the day, it just leads to a paper that lasts for 2 hours or maybe a little more. But it's obviously it's a big deal. But like Anya said, if you are ever facing any stress or something that you feel like you can't handle, please talk to someone, as it really, really helps.
I also agree with what both of you have said. Well, our next story, I know Kavya did say we have no Olympic stories left. And I would say this isn't as much about the Olympics as it is a political situation. And what I mean by that, let me explain to you. So the Belarus Olympic athlete, Kristina Simonowskaya, has received a humanitarian visa from Poland after she criticized some Olympic officials and was threatened with being sent back to Belarus. Poland's foreign deputy minister tweeted on Monday that Kristina was in direct contact with the Polish diplomats and that she had been given a humanitarian visa to Poland. He said, and I quote, "Poland will do whatever is necessary to help her continue her sporting career."
Thanks, Trivik. And that will bring us to the last story for today. And this is a really, really sweet and heartwarming and cute story that I happened to come across. And I was like, I definitely have to put this in, because not only is this something that I really love, that's something that I'm passionate about, but something that I thought would make everyone really happy. So it's about an orangutan. And you might be thinking, oh, wow, no, I don't care about orangutan, Kavya. But listen, it's a really cute story. So there was this girl that had gone to a zoo, and she was in the orangutan enclosure when she bent down to look at some orangutans that were under the rail. And her sunglasses fell on the floor. And one of the mama orangutans, she climbed down from a rock. She kind of took the sunglasses in her hand, played around with it, inspected it. And she then went back to her rock and she wore the sunglasses. This is actually on film, and I really encourage you to go watch it after this. It's really, really sweet. And she put the sunglasses on and she started posing. It looked like she was posing. Obviously, she wasn't doing it with the intention of that. But it looked like she was striking some poses. And it really just blew my mind away, because they are so much smarter than we think. And the fact that the orangutan was able to figure out where to put it, how to put it, and it was the right side up as well. She put it the right side up.
Even I can't do that, Kavya. Even I can't wear glasses the right side up.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. So yeah, I really do go watch it. It put a smile on my face, and I really, really hope it does on yours as well. But that is all that we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of News Kids on the Block. Don't forget to tune in to us every Friday for our fresh take on the news from across the globe.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other podcasts on the IVM network.
You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
We'll see you next week. But till then, do share this episode with your folks. Stay safe. And don't forget to do your homework, because our school started now. Yay!
Feeling overwhelmed, anxious, struggling with too many obstacles, don't know where your life is headed? Well, if you are dealing with one or all of these, tune into the Positively Unlimited podcast, because in each episode, I share a life lesson, a life hack, a pro tip that can help you get your life back on track. All episodes are available on the IBM website, IBM Podcast app, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts from.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawala, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be safe, be well, be empowered.